Hi guys, my name's Mark. I'm the owner and one of the engineers here at Remappack, and I just wanted to jump on here and make a video to show you Remappack, give you an insight on what we've been working on, and essentially show you what's imminently in the pipeline. Remappack, it's a CRM system specifically designed for the UK remapping industry. Now, if you've not heard the term CRM before, it basically is customer relationship management, and it's a software tool designed to take your leads from inquiry to booking in the most effective and efficient way possible. So that is the least amount of man hours, the least amount of your time, at the highest possible conversion rate from lead to booking. Now, there are many sort of generic CRM systems out there. I tried a lot of them, but the complexity that comes with remapping is also a lot of different cards and a lot of different tools and a lot of different ECUs and all the rest of it. When you've got OBD jobs that you can do in 15 minutes, and you've got all the files for already, along with latest auto tuner postal service where you've got to send these, so you're aware, you don't know how long it's going to be. There isn't really a one size fits all when it comes to remapping, or one price fits all, crucially. So there isn't really a generic system that I ever found when I had my own tuning company that worked. So yeah, I basically tuned cars from 2015 till 2022, and then I left the UK. And Remappack was originally built by myself for my own tuning company in around 2018 in its earliest form. For many years I kept it to myself as my secret sauce, but yeah, then I left the UK, and since then we've been building it into a software product to offer to the UK industry. So yeah, as I say, Remappack is a CRM system. It's specifically designed for the remapping industry, and it has a lot of unique tools and methodologies that specifically relate to remapping and to people that want to basically grow their remapping business. This isn't a generic booking tool. This isn't something, it's just a single use web app. It's a whole system that is going to basically, if you integrate it into your workflow and into how you run your business, it will help you grow into doing many more remaps, as it did for me and my own company. This video is a broad overview. It's basically to show you what's in the pipeline. There's many different features. I won't be able to cover them all in this video. Each feature will have its own video coming out very soon. But as I say, this is a broad overview video to basically show you what's coming. We've just released early bird form on the website. So if you're interested, if you think this is something of value to your company, or if you just want to have more information and a bit more of a chat and sign up to our email forms, hit the link wherever it is on this video and go to the website, sign up to the early bird sign up, and yeah, we'd love to get in touch with you. By doing that as well, you get early access, and you're going to get the best discounts and pricing that we're ever going to offer by being an early bird user. So yeah, it's worth doing if you think this is of value to your company. So yeah, touching back on how it's unique, Remappack essentially, as I say, was built from the ground up for the remapping industry. It's designed to capture customer information, customer contact details at the inquiry stage. So if people are coming onto your website, especially if you're running any kind of ads, any kind of social ads or PPC, which is a whole other area Remappack can help you with, but we'll stay focused for this video. We need to make sure we're getting some value back for your ad spend pounds. So the widget is the first stage of that. If you think of a CRM like a funnel, your widest part of the funnel is your website widget. All of your marketing spend and direction for your customers should be pointed towards your website widget, which is a demo of here. So this is an embeddable widget, sits on the front end of your website. You basically install it via a small HTML snippet, and then it renders a web app within any website. So it will size dynamically. It's not an iframe, it's actually an embed on the site. So here we'll get on and show you a bit of a demo of the system. So customer comes along, puts their vehicle details on in here. All of this is customizable colors and can match your branding. We'll just flick over to Nathan at DVS. Nathan's been testing out a lot of our software products over the last year or so. So you see his is all orange. And yeah, so first thing is customer comes here. You don't want to be dealing with that. You don't want to be dealing with, what gains for my Mark IV Golf, mate. If you're in the industry, which I hope you are if you're watching this video, you know that dealing with inquiries and what can you do for this vehicle, blah, 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 is a bane of your life. Like something you have to deal with on a daily basis. The idea of this system is to remove all that, get your customers sent to this widget. As I say, it's the top part of that flow. You want to put everyone in that funnel, get them to the widget, And crucially, we want to hold some information back, right? So we want to hold back the thing they really want to know is how much does it cost to have their vehicle tuned with you. And the reason that we do that, the reason that Remappack isn't just a generic booking system or something where you put prices up publicly is I found when running my own company in the UK that if you put your prices out there, people will come, they'd see the price, they'd think about it, they'd go away, maybe something else pops up or whatever. You lose their information. You haven't captured anything. You know, my company in the UK, I ran a lot of ads. At one point, we were spending probably £3,000 a month on ad spend. And it was crucial that as part of that ad spend, we were getting emails, phone numbers, and contact details. So that's the first win. And as I say, if you've just got a booking system or you're putting prices out publicly or whatever it is, and I mean, putting prices out publicly is a pretty risky play when, as I say, you've got 15-minute OBD jobs with, you know, auto-tuner postal services or nasty flipboards or whatever it is. You know, you don't want someone turning up expecting to have a stage 1 remap for 200 quid on, you know, a 2026 Golf R. You know, it's just not going to happen. So basically what we do with Remappack is say you hold that information back and you make them convert, you make them give you your the email and the phone number. More emails, names and phone numbers that you can collect into your CRM is value for your business. So now once they're at the widget, they can see the additional options that are available for their vehicle, and they can submit for a quote. Before we get to that though, you might notice that 400 horsepower for a BMW Z4 E89 naturally aspirated engine is a pretty strong ask, and that is kind of the first stage of where Remappack as a specific CRM design for the remapping industry kicks in. So the backbone of Remappack is a customizable tuning database for your company. So what that means is per vehicle you quote for, you can actually edit the tuned power, tuned torque, stage 1, stage 2, additional options, and crucially how much you want to quote that specific vehicle for. So as you're doing a quote, you can either set it up out the box to use our configuration, or every quote that you do, you set that configuration for that vehicle, and then it's set and saved in your vehicle database. That means the next time that someone comes to you with that same make, model vehicle, all the configuration that you've set for that vehicle is ready to be automatically quoted instantly. So when they come onto the widget and they want to know, you know, what the gains are and what the price is, your tuning database is ready to serve them with that information, and in return we're going to capture their email, phone number, and lead information. So that's your first win, right? Your first conversion of their contact details. The goal of a CRM system is to take that lead to conversion with the least amount of your time, the least amount of your energy, at the highest conversion rate possible. So anywhere where we can automate a process, it should be automated, and anywhere where you can increase the chances of someone actually going from quote to booking, that's where you should value your time. Now, I won't make this a seminar, but like, you know, what should be done is, you know, and what a lot of people fail on when they're running a small business like a remapping business is they spend a lot of their time and energy running around quoting people and thinking, oh, I've quoted them, they're done, next person will quote them, and you pass it off and you think quoting them is your job done until they decide to come back to you. That's the start. That's where your work should start, you know, and with Remappack, that is where it starts. You know, you quote people very easily, either in a couple of seconds or completely automated, and then your real work starts once they've already had the quote. And there's a lot of sort of features and methodology and automations we've built into the app, which again will have all their own videos explaining. But the real goal and how you're going to grow your remapping business is taking those leads and converting as many of them into deposits and bookings as possible. And that's where your time should be spent. It shouldn't be spent on quoting the people. All of that stuff should be, you know, done. And it's your bulk of your focus should be spent there. And that's where you're going to make the most amount of money, and you're going to grow your business the sort of the fastest way as well. So complete that. We'll pretend we're a customer. We've submitted that off. That's going to do a couple of things. You get a push notification straight to your phone for the mobile app. You get an email notification, customer will get an email saying that we've received their quote, and they will also get a text message. As you can see there, text message is a massive part of Remappack. We all know emails don't always land or whatever. SMS communications with your customer is a big part of Remappack, from inquiry all the way through to booking. So yeah, nice little add-on feature which I can go into. I'm going to try and keep this video as condensed and as sort of not 40 minutes as possible, but there are so many different features of Remappack that each one will have their own video going into depth and explaining. This is just serving as a very broad overview of the system, and basically if you are interested in getting your hands on this early and getting those discounts, it's just a reminder that the early bird form is live. So what happens then? So basically the idea of Remappack, as I say, is that tuning database. If you've already set your configuration to auto quote, the customer would have already had their quote by now. So whether it's 3 in the morning, or you're driving down the M25 or wherever you are, if it's auto quoted, bang, that inquiry is back with them before you even touch your phone. For this example, we'll show you what a manual quote looks like. So we'll go into leads from the home screen there. If you click on the push notification, it will take you straight to the inquiry. First of all, we see the customer information, brief vehicle information and what they've mentioned, and then we get to see the vehicle information. As you see here, this vehicle is currently set to no auto quote. Once you've set it and it's configured in your database, this step gets skipped. It gets automatically sent straight to the customer based off of what you've set your tuning database up to be. We look in the drop down, we can see the ECUs for the vehicle. If there's any vehicle notes, long read time, tricky ECU to open, ECU location, we're going to populate that in that vehicle notes field. For now, we'll manually add a price. We'll say it's £300. They've requested pop and bang. We can see that here. We'll say if you're having pop and bang, we'll say decap is required for a pop and bang tune. And then we go back here and we will turn decat on to quote them. So yeah, you can add a bit of customization. It's not the trade-off with automation is sometimes losing the personality, and part of Remappack is processing things as quick as possible and as efficiently as possible. But if they've asked you a question, we do need to answer that question. So that's what that is there. So next, you'll see there it says £0 included free of charge. In your settings, you can set how much additional you charge for each of the additional options that you want to offer in the app. Again, could go into that, but it's a whole separate video. This is just meant to be a broad overview of the system. So, and then we can choose to send it to them via email or SMS. We'll do both for the demo. And there we are. The quote's been sent. At that point, the quote is updated in your database to a sent status. And a booking link is created. Now I'll just jump back onto the computer and give you a quick glimpse of what this will look like for the customer. So these emails are all HTML rendered nice and professionally. Your company logo sits at the top. We got the vehicle gains, all the financial information, all the additional options, and then you can actually have your own section in here. Like if you've got any sort of unique things that you want to show on your quote form, there's a whole section which you can basically put your own HTML in, and it will get embedded into your quote email. So yeah, customers get a nice rendered email. You'll also get a notification email, and you get a push notification onto your phone. So if I just go back on the app, the email will have a booking link on it, or you can go in the app and copy it and send it to them directly, or the customer would see that on their text. At that point, the next stage is to essentially get that quote from it being a quote to a booking. Now your time and energy should be spent in this stage. Now, a big sort of trap that people fall into when dealing with leads is they think that replying to the lead is the work done. Like you get an inquiry, you apply to it, you give them the price, and you think, yeah, I've done my bit, it's on them now. Really, it's the other way around. What Remappack does is it gets you all of that as little effort or as automated as possible. Now, but any energy that you spend should be spent between the quote stage and the booking stage. Remappack will help with that. We can filter lists of customers. We can filter by vehicle type, by location. We can send email blast, SMS blasters. There's lots of automated ways that we can do it. But that is where your energy is best spent, and where if you want to grow your business, you're going to get the most amount of value out of spending your time in between after the quote's been sent. Don't be fooled into thinking the quote's been sent, I've done my job. Again, whole nother video, and it's something that Remappack, there's a whole nother sort of branch of Remappack that will help our users with that if you need it. But the technology, the software, it gives you the backbone and the capability to do that, to give you those email lists, to give you those integrations where you can go off and build systems that are, that's really where you're going to earn and grow your business. So yeah, there we go. So that quote's been sent. For now, we'll just go into here and I'll copy the booking link straight out of the app. But as I say, this will get emailed to the customer. This is one we sent earlier. I'll just refresh this. So yeah, as I say, second goal, get them to the booking system. Now, this pre-populates with everything we already know about the customer, because we've already quoted them, we know their vehicle, we know what we've quoted them, what additional options they spoke about at the start. We've got their name, email, phone number, calendar. Now, this is a whole section which I could go on again for another 20 minutes about but it's essentially your actual calendar with your actual availability. When a booking comes in, it gets put into the calendar, and you can configure the calendar in your app. So when you want to work AM, PM slots, you can configure whether you just do workshop jobs, you do just mobile jobs, or if you do both. And yeah, you can set all your calendar settings up in the app. One thing that is to remember, this is a booking request. So the idea of this is to request a booking. It's not to fully cement a booking, it's to request to book. So we keep it fairly vague and actually intentionally so. We don't go, 10:30 a.m. at Wednesday, because then you're setting an expectation. And especially my experience being a mobile guy, I never used to give times anyway, because you never know what the traffic's going to be like, what the previous job's going to be like, how quick you're going to be able to get a file back on whatever job you're on. Setting an expectation of 11:30 we're going to be there is pretty tricky when you're out on the road. If you're in a workshop, it's less tricky. They can drop the car off, go away, and you can deal with it and manage it like that. But for now, and for sort of how Remappack works, it's AM, PM, and then slots for the AM, slots for the PM. Maximum slots you can set in the app, and it leaves time out of it. You can deal with time once you've got the conversion off them, once you've got the money off them, and it's worth your time. So yeah, customer comes along, puts their details in, selects what additional options they want. So in this case, we're going to do the decant and the pop and bang. If these were configured on this account for additional pricing, so if they were, you could have them set up that a decat is another £25, or an EGR delete is another £25. It would add that to their the final price there, so they know exactly how much it's going to cost. We're also going to add in here for the mobile guys a cost per mile configuration, where you can set up, if they're 15 miles away from your home, it's included. If they're 30 miles away, it's a small per mile charge, things like that. So yeah, that's going to come. And then essentially they click next and they get to a payment screen. Now, we collect this payment on your behalf, so you don't have to set up any sort of payment portal stuff. We'll basically process this payment and pay it out to your bank account. I'll just fill this with a bunch of details and hit submit. And that is the name of the game. So you're basically, the whole process here is to get to this screen, get your customers to this screen with the least amount of your time, the most sort of efficient, effective and professional way. You want to instill confidence in the customer, which the system does. And it's at this point where this customer has gone, hey, here's my money, here's my deposit. You can set it up with no deposits. We can just have them submit the booking request and then you can deal with them from there. From my own company and from my own experience, I did take deposits. I took a low deposit, like generally I think I was about £20. But when this system is fully automated, like when you're dealing with inquiries and bookings, should I say, that the first time you're even looking at them is when they've given you £20 and they've actually converted. If the lead has gone through automatically, they've been converted, they've got the booking link, and then they've gone on the booking link and they've checked out and paid you the £20 to get booked in. And the first time you're actually hearing or dealing with that customer is when they've given you £20. That's a win. That's when your time is most validated. That's when you know that any energy from here on, you've already been paid. So that's the purpose, and that's why I would recommend having a £20 booking or £40 or whatever it is, whatever you're comfortable with. It's all configurable in the app, as I say. But yeah, it's like we want to get them to this point without them really having spoken to you. If we want to take the leads that we think could convert, that's where our energy is spent. But as I say, a lot of the time they're going to get to this stage without even having ever spoken to you. But whether that's through automated marketing that you set up off the back of your leads that have come through, or whether they are just that confident in booking that they've gone straight through, bang bang bang, lead, quote, booking. So we get into that point, jumping back on the app. At that point, you'll get a push notification, you'll get an email, customer gets an email, customer will also get an SMS just to say that your booking's in progress. As I say, it's a booking request. So at this point, they have requested to book. They haven't solidified anything. They get an email that's very clear that it says, we've got your request. We'll check whether or not we can do it at that time and day that you've requested. If we can't, we'll get in touch. So at this point, we look at it, as I say, this might be the first time we were even looking at this customer. We can see the quote details, the time and date that they've requested, their customer information, workshop mobile, depends on your settings. Again, this might be the first time we're looking at the vehicle, so we can look and see what horsepower, what tools, any vehicle notes. The system will have all the vehicle notes, so tricky ECU location, tips and tricks that we're going to add from my personal network of guys that I know from the 7 years in the trade. Quote and payment, it will have all the quote information. If they selected those additional options and they were extra money, it will show the total there. how much deposit, if they've paid a deposit, and then how much is outstanding. So we look at that in the first two screens, and then we get through to confirming their slot. So we look here, we can see our calendar, we can see what's coming up. It's been requested for the morning. Currently, we're configured to only have one slot of availability for that morning. So we're currently showing that with this booking request, we are fully booked for that morning. If we look on the 23rd, we've got no bookings that day. The afternoon is disabled because we don't like working Saturday afternoons. We'd rather be in the pub. And yeah, we can be like, hey, actually, 14th didn't work. How about the 23rd or whatever? And if you want to, give them a ring, give them a text, give them an email, you can do it directly from your screen, pick up the phone. It's a qualified lead. They've paid you money, and it's worth your time to give them a quick ring and just get this booking over the line. That's where I would spend my time, my energy. That's where I'd normally introduce myself. Hey, it's Mark. I'm going to be coming, remapping your vehicle. Appreciate you checking out on the website. Any questions or anything you want to chat about? At that point, at that level of personal service, right? We don't want to replace good service with software systems. We want to improve where we spend our time, where we, make the extra mile because we've not spent all that time just doing boring, repetitive, unnecessary tasks. So it frees up our time and our energy to offer a much better quality of service, which in hand will go tenfold in getting you good reviews, getting you more business, etc. So it's really compounding interest when it comes to how the system works. So yeah, as I say, you look at it in app, you spoke to them, you confirm it, you press save and send, and it sends them their booking details. So at that point, Remappack's job for the most part is done. It's done its job of taking your quote from the inquiry stage to the booking stage. As I say, there's a lot more features in app that you can do. If someone's on, you're in the pub and you want to send someone a quote because they're bugging you about it, you can do all of that within the app. You don't have to send them off to the widget. If they're on the phone, you can do it whilst you're on the phone. Send a tuning quote, add the customer in there, or search for an existing one if they've already been hitting you up on the widget. And yeah, you can send them a quote in literally, let's just add a price in there. What's that? That's going to be about 20 seconds to get a quote out to them very, very effortlessly. So yeah, you can do that in app. As I say, manage your calendar, manage your account, manage all your settings. There's a whole range of settings, which again is more of a specific setup video and not the purpose of this overview video. We're going to have demo videos, send quotes. I'll pop back to the sent quotes. So as you see, this is touching again on really where you should be spending your time if you want to grow your business. You'll see here a lot of these quotes have this flame emoji. Now that's because we've detected that lead is a hot lead. It's the customer has done something that we declare is intent to actually become a booking. So from there, we can spend more time and energy. Like if you want to at a glance go, okay, I'm going to spend some time and energy looking at these leads. They've either opened the booking system, opened the email multiple times. They've done something that we've tracked that basically has qualified them ahead of just a regular lead, but they've not quite converted yet. And the next stage of that is when you go into booking requests, you can see people that have actually abandoned the checkout. So people that got all the way through the booking but then didn't pay the deposit, because those are the people as well. If you're going to pick up the phone and ring anyone, the people that got all the way through booking but then didn't put their card details in because they didn't have the card or whatever, that's who you call, and that's who you resend the link to and get them through and get them converted. So as I say, Remappack is a system that replaces all of those boring sort of tasks and the things that you spend most of your time peddling when you're running a business, especially a small independent business, for example. And it allows you to focus your energy and your time on the sort of more meaningful and higher impact actions that are actually going to earn you more money, they're going to convert you more jobs, and fill up your calendar. So yeah, there we go. As I say, many other services. We can help you with websites, marketing, paid ads, all of that jazz. But this video is really just to show and introduce Remappack. If what I've gone through here seems of interest and of value to you and your company, we'd love to chat. I'd love to chat. If you go on the website, submit the early bird form, that'll let us know you're interested. As I say, you'll then be front of the queue to get onboarded. Full launch is coming really, really soon, but the early bird users are going to get access first, and they're going to get preferential treatment with pricing, features, beta testing, and also feedback. If you become, like Nathan, a really valued part of the system, and you can give us really valuable feedback on features and sort of updates that you want to see, things that really would help you specifically with your workflow that we think would benefit other people, then yeah, we really want to help. We really want to hear from you, and we will definitely return the favor in helping you grow your business. So there you go. I hope I've not bored you for too long. As I say, if you're interested, get in touch, and it'll be great to chat to you. Cheers. Bye.